Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our wellness webinar for August. My name is Leanne King, and I am Head of Nutrition and Wellbeing for ESS. Today, I am going to take you through preparing for back to work or school after the summer holidays, and we plan on taking a wellness-centered approach to smooth transition into returning back to work. I know literally we've just come off onto the summer holidays, but it's always good to have it at the forefront of our mind to start thinking about how you're going to return back to work. So we are going to talk about the evidence of why a wellness approach is important, then the post-breakup challenges that we may face, the importance of getting back into the swing of things. We are going to take a wellness approach using our wellness commitment, so healthier food, healthier mind, healthier body, and healthier world. Personal action plan, how to make yourself more accountable, and then the resources and support that you may find useful. So why a wellness-centered approach? So as we settle back into routines after break, a wellness approach return to work or school really does matter. Returning after the holidays can really feel, for some, overwhelming. Our energy, focus and motivation can take maybe a little bit of a hit. And that's why adopting a holistic wellbeing approach isn't just a nice to have, it's essential. What we eat really can affect how we perform. And a study from the Brigham Young University looked at around 19,000 employees, and they found that those who ate healthily throughout the day were 25% more likely to perform better at work. So fueling our bodies well is key to working well. Then there's the mental health aspect. We know that over half of all sick leave and long-term absences are linked to stress, anxiety, or depression. When we overlook emotional well-being in our return plans, we risk burning out just as we're getting back into the swing of things. And according to a 2022 Deloitte review, workplaces that had wellbeing and support systems in place saw a 30% drop in mental health related absences, which really is a huge impact. Hopefully, then today you are going to get some tools that will help you take this approach. So why a wellness approach? As I've said, after we return to work, we may have heavier workloads, our routines may be out of sync, but the return to work, the workload may really ramp up. And, we also will need to re-establish focus and attention. Now, this may sound like we have been, you may have had time off for months, but actually, a week or two off, these things can also occur as well. So after a break, like the summer holidays, it's normal to feel a little bit off. Our routines and rhythms get disrupted, and that can lead to procrastination and overwhelm, and even a little dip in motivation. Some people may experience social anxiety or stress when readjusting into the team dynamics again. And physically, we may also feel a little bit stiff or sluggish from less movement or different routines during the break. That's why a holistic approach to wellness, so looking after your body, your mind, and your environment, can really make a difference. It helps us to focus, build resilience, and ease the transition back into work. And by setting small, healthy habits now, we're not only making the return to work smoother, but potentially we're also helping to prevent burnout down the line. So food choices do play a key role. We often underestimate the impact food has on how we feel and perform each day, but what we eat directly affects our energy, our focus, and our overall well-being. Choosing more nutritious options, whether it's at work, school, or at home, can give both adults and children the fuel that they need to feel more productive, resilient, and ready for the day's challenges. It's not just about strict diets or cutting out all the nice kind of treats. It's about small, balanced choices that support both the body and the mind. Now, ensuring balance and variety, that really is key. When getting back into a routine, whether it's after a break or just a busy spell, how we fuel ourselves in the day really does matter. A balanced breakfast that pairs protein and complex carbohydrates, such as eggs on whole grain toast, or maybe some granola or porridge with some yogurt, nuts, seeds, and some fruit, really helps you feel fuller for longer, keeps your energy more steady. And if mornings are rushed, even planning a few simple meals or snacks in advance can make a huge difference. If we think of snacks as stamina boosters, not fillers, so a handful of nuts, a piece of fruit or yogurt can help bridge the gap between meetings or classes and really help us feel more alert. And don't forget about hydration as well. Little and often throughout the day, drinking little and often throughout the day on non-sugar added drinks is a good idea. We are approximately 2% dehydrated before we even feel thirsty. And dehydration really doesn't only affect our physical performance, but also our cognitive performance as well. When we are busy, nutrition can take a back seat. So the Eat Well guide really is a helpful tool in helping us keep track and having a healthy, balanced diet without sort of really overthinking it. It gives us a clear balance of what a balanced diet looks like. We should aim to have a good variety of fruits and vegetables, base our meals around our starchy carbohydrates, in particular our whole grain varieties. So, having whole grain bread, pasta, rice, having a good source of protein, whether that be animal or plant-based, but, healthier sources, so reduced fat options. If you're going for the alternatives in your dairy, I would ensure that they're also fortified with vitamins and minerals as well, to ensure that you get a good balance. Now, it is really important, with the Eat Well guide, it is a guide. If you don't have all these food groups within every meal, or every meal within one day, that's completely fine. It's about a balance over the day and over a week, and just trying to mix it up and have variety. Following the Eat Well guide, ensures that we have steadier energy levels throughout the day. It improves our focus and connection, especially, kind of if we're trying to learn something new, and provides better mood and resilience, which helps you manage your stress more effectively. And again, we can always opt for the healthier options, and even small shifts can make a big difference. So again, as I mentioned earlier, swapping white bread for whole grain bread, white pasta for brown pasta, and even just having or ensuring you add an extra portion of vegetables or fruit, throughout the day will also help. Preparation is key. So when the week kicks in, things can really start to get hectic, and this is when we tend to reach for the quickest, not always the healthiest option. And that's why a little weekend planning goes a long way. By taking 10-15 minutes to plan your evening meals, may help reduce stress, save you a little bit of time during the week, and it is less likely that you will default to a takeaway or a microwave meal. So why not, prep your breakfast the night before? This could be overnight oats with some chopped fruit, or even just setting your bowls out and the box of cereal, to try and make it a little bit more smooth in the morning and getting ready. Cook once, eat twice. So can you double up on meals, or repurpose your leftovers? So for example, a pasta dinner could be a pasta salad the next day. If you have, say, a taco for an evening meal, that could be turned into a burrito or a wrap. But don't forget to label any of your pre-prepared food, and also date it so that you've got a rough idea. If you don't feel like eating it the next day or the day after, stick it in the freezer, because you never know when you need an emergency meal. And again, it's not about being perfect. It's about giving yourself more breathing room, so that you can build better habits with less stress. If we now move on to our social and emotional or healthier mind pillar, It really is important to start with a mindset reset. A practical way to do this is by setting up 2 to 3 realistic goals for your first week back. Keeping goals manageable helps avoid overwhelm and builds confidence as you adjust. Managing stress is key. One simple yet powerful technique is mindfulness. I really do encourage everyone to take about 5 minutes each day for a breathing activity, whether you use an app or guided mindfulness. These small moments can make a big difference in staying calm and focused throughout the day. Connection also plays a huge role in emotional well-being. So make a point to schedule catch-ups with supportive colleagues or friends. Social support not only lifts our mood, but it also helps us feel grounded when times are busy. You may also want to organise maybe some play dates for your children to help them transition back into the school routine as well. And lastly, set clear boundaries. This is essential. Define your work off times and try to unplug from notifications. Creating this separation helps you to recharge and maintain balance between work, school, and your personal life as well. To support your mental and emotional well-being, incorporating reflective practice into daily routines can also be really helpful. Each evening, take a moment to jot down one positive insight or experience from your day. That simple habit can encourage gratitude and help shift your focus towards the good, even when things feel challenging. So even when you've had a really rough day, more than likely you'll be able to draw upon something positive that's happened. Another important strategy is a digital detox. So try to designate no screen times, such as 30 minutes before bed. And this break from devices, it helps you to unwind, helps your sleep quality, and reduces overstimulation as well. Now, our healthier body pillar. So how can we bring physical activity more into our day and our return back to work? As I mentioned earlier, time off tends to, or for some, can be a break from everything. So, if you're really active during your day-to-day job, you may kind of chill, and you just want to relax and not do any kind of form of physical activity. In the evenings, you may be an avid gym goer, and again, on holiday or some time off, you decide not to be active. But in doing this, it can make us a little bit more stiffer going back to work. So I do recommend kind of starting with some gentle movement first thing in the morning to help sort of energize you. So this could be a simple stretch or a brisk 10-minute walk to really wake up your body and also clear your mind. For those of you that are more desk-based, don't forget the importance of ergonomics. So take a moment to check your chair, your desk, and screen setup, and make sure that your posture is well supported. Small adjustments like this can really prevent aches and pains and help you stay more comfortable throughout the day. Also aim to take some micro breaks regularly, particularly if you're mainly desk-based. Every hour, stand up, shake your limbs. If you're working up like I do in the loft, go down the stairs, make yourself a cup of coffee, do a quick desk-based exercise. And these little breaks can help reduce tension and boost your circulation, which overall kind of helps you remain focused. And finally, sleep hygiene. This really is crucial. Try to wind down during or about 30 minutes before bedtime, and aim for a consistent lights out time. This may also be a great time to spend with your family, sort of relating back to the digital detox as well. You could read a story together. But also, ensure good quality sleep, because this really ensures, good recovery for the next day and sets you up for a productive day ahead. Finally, our healthier world pillar. So how can your return to work be more sustainable? There really are some simple habits that you can adopt that benefit both you and the environment. For example, you could consider your commute. If you are not too far away from your main place of work. You could, and you have a bike, you could try cycling or a scooter. You could even walk, run, if there's some facilities when you arrive, to kind of get ready for work. And not only does this reduce your carbon footprint, but it's a great way to get some fresh air and some gentle exercise as well. You may even kind of be able to car share, which again will save a little bit of money and be better for the environment as well. You may also want to think about decluttering your workspace. A tidy desk can really help create a sense of calm and focus. Adding a plant or a personal photo can also bring warmth and positivity to the environment in which you're working in. Eco-friendly habits, so why buy a bottle of water when you're out when you can bring a bottle with you? A reusable water bottle or lunchbox really can help. And finally, if we think about lighting and noise, so try to maximize your natural light in the day and use soft light task lighting if you need it. And if it's quite noisy, you could invest in some noise cancelling headphones as well. So our mindset and motivation, really can give you a fresh start, as start as you mean to go on, basically, by setting 2 to 3 realistic goals for your first week back can really help you stay focused without feeling overwhelmed. Also, celebrate those micro wins, small achievements like clearing your inbox or planning your lunch. These little successes can build momentum and help give you a real sense of progress. And remember, take a positive outlook, talk kindly to yourself and imagine that things are going well. This kind of self-compassion sets the tone for a smoother and more motivated return. And why not set yourself a personal action plan? Mindset and motivation really can help in your return back. So pick one habit from each of the pillars that we've discussed, and schedule it into your diary or an app and track your progress. See how you got on for that week, and if it needs any tweaking, and if it does, refine it. Finally, I just want to share some resources that you may find useful. So the NHS, Every Mind Matters, have tools for managing anxiety and stress. Mind UK actually have a return to work wellbeing guide. And for your children, there are Young Minds also have resources for children and young people as well. So that brings us to the end of our wellness webinar, but I would just like to remind you that you can contact us through the Ask Your Nutrition and Wellbeing Specialist email address, so ess.wellness@compass-group.co.uk. If you have any personal queries, would like to book some educational talks or one-to-one sessions, please do get in touch. We also have our wellness magazine, and our autumn one is a work in progress and will be out in September. You can sign up to that through our Ask Your Nutrition and Wellbeing Specialist email address as well. And if you would like to forward on our webinars to your family and friends, please feel free to do so. If you search for us on We Are ESS, all our previous ones are there. If you wouldn't mind giving us some feedback by scanning the QR code. Please do contact us if you have any further questions or would like any support. Thank you for joining.